We are on the air.
Woo!
What is up, America?
Yeah!
In all of the world of Google Plus and all of those other corporate sellouts.
Bastards.
This is the Clint and Greg Show. If you obviously couldn't tell by the video description. We are two...
Patriots!
We are two very young American... what used to be the common man patriot, but sadly, it's starting to slowly drift out the window. Those patriots, they're just coming few and farther in between.
I think if you had to give a label to us, it would be more like a classic liberal, an old Republican, the old Republican Party back before it turned into the shit it is today.
Yep.
Some people might call it libertarianism today.
Mm-hmm.
Non-government interference in the economy. Things like that.
Letting the American people do what they do best. Sort of live their life without such insane government interference.
I mean, we need limited government. That's the point.
That's the whole thing.
I mean, that's as simple as it is.
The whole laissez-faire system, the government that rules least rules best.
I think me and Greg are more, we're Coolidge and Grover Cleveland style.
Cleveland, yeah.
We're those style Republicans. That's what we like. Limited government.
That was essentially the best time to become a Republican, or to be a Republican for that matter.
Late 1800s, early 1900s.
The earlier 1900s.
Some really good times.
It was definitely the best time, politically and economically wise, to be a small-minded or a small government-minded Republican, and people backed the whole party on it, and the party just flourished. And it's quite frankly too bad that they essentially, I would say, got practically all of the blame for the great crash in the late 1920s.
An even bigger problem is the fact that FDR and the progressives get credit for digging us out of the Depression.
That's the problem.
That's an even worse.
And the thing was, practically everybody voted for Roosevelt. I mean, you talk about the whole election after Coolidge and whatnot.
It was a huge
Democrats won by a landslide.
Oh, it was a huge swing.
It was unbelievable. I mean, there was 4 or 5 states in the whole entire nation that voted for the Republicans. Practically everyone else voted for the Democrats. And the mere fact that, yes, that they practically get all of the credit for digging the whole country out of the hole that it was in, essentially come around the late 1920s time.
And honestly, the administrations of Woodrow Wilson and Franklin Delano Roosevelt, they're probably the reason our government is the way it is today. Without that revolution in the 1900s of big government, we wouldn't have this kind of problem.
We wouldn't have the mindset that we have right now, absolutely. I mean, it's just...
You look at a president that is as close to them as anybody else, it's our current president.
Yeah, I mean, it's just... It's unbelievable that that all of the individuals who backed up that party back then, it's insane that there is that many people still to this day that are in favor of large government, high regulation counts, the whole liberty-less as a whole. It's mind-boggling that there are literally that many people walking around each and every one of us this day. I mean, it's unbelievable that someone could have the mindset like that.
Well, nobody understands history.
The
history of the problems that big government causes around the world cannot be ignored.
That's absolutely it.
government causes things like poverty, causes things like businesses going up, unemployment, things like that. I mean, you can. The more the government interferes in the lives of every American, the worse things get.
Exactly. I mean,
and you look at how it is now with the economy.
Yeah, I mean
that's due to big government wanting to get involved,
large
regulating small business to death.
Exactly. I mean,
how can you expect the employment rate to go up when you have a minimum wage that's way too high?
When the value of the dollar
you've inflated the dollar,
yeah,
and you make it impossible for small businesses to get started.
And that's where more than 50% of the businesses are from. I mean, I don't even know what the percentage of small businesses as compared to total businesses overall in this country, but it's got to be up in the 70 in terms of percentage-wise from looking at every businesses that exist out there in America right now. It's just, if you're going to regulate the hell out of small businesses, you've collapsed practically more than half of your economy. And an economy that is literally in such a shit heap right now, imagine what it would be like if half of all businesses in America just quit. I mean, you wouldn't have an economy. I mean, we've seen boom and bust cycles of the American economy ever since it's practically existed.
It's a natural part.
But,
you know,
that's just part of capitalism.
Yes.
But
the busts are always way worse when the government interferes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it almost just buries you way deeper than you would ever be if you just let the free market decide what was going on. I mean, people would be smart enough to, you know, the economy would dig itself out because individuals would make the right decisions. I mean, it's simple, you know.
You talk about people that are going to regulate your freedom. They don't know you, and they shouldn't know what to judge for you. You know your life. You know what to expect in your life. You know what standards to set for yourself. I mean, the government as a whole doesn't even know you. I mean, the average Joe, the government does not know you. Why should they know you?
I want to know how we became so comfortable with letting such a centralized group of individuals dictate our life.
Yeah.
That we don't even know, that are so out of touch with the way American citizens really think about things, and we're going to let them just dictate with laws and bills what we do with our life. I mean, how has that ever become acceptable in America? I
mean, yeah, it's hardly ever been acceptable until, you know, our generation and kind of the trailing end of the generation in front of us is really starting to voice their political viewpoints on a lot of things. Mm-hmm. And it's quite scary that there are that many people out there that are in favor of that.
Oh yeah, I come across it on Facebook all the time. I mean,
all the goddamn time.
I've been attacked for putting freedom posts, you know, I've been attacked by liberals who want to say that, you know, that's just wrong and immoral.
Not going to mention names or anything,
but there are some definite people out there who just, they don't get it, and they're adults.
Exactly.
There's a guy who voted for Obama because he would give more money to schools. You know, that's what he promised he would do. I mean, if you vote for money, you're gonna kill the nation. I mean, it's just that simple.
Yeah.
You can't just vote for a president because he's gonna give somebody more money. I mean, that's...
And the thing is, Obama's practically ran the U.S. economy into the ground in his first term. Mm-hmm. And he got reelected.
That's the scary part.
That's the part especially.
I can understand people voting for him the first time.
Absolutely.
But the second time, there's no excuse.
I mean, yeah, there is none. Nothing. I mean, you have never seen as much corruption in the U.S. political system than in the past 6 to 7 years.
It's getting bad, man.
It's getting insane. I mean, the mere fact that we have gone from such a I don't know if laid back's the right word to put it, but such a...
What word are you looking for?
I don't know. But, we've gone from literally a night and day difference in the political system, even on the trailing end of Bush's term, his second term, to where we are right now. And it's crazy that the American people will literally sit back, let it drift completely by their heads, and just allow that drastic of a change to just happen.
That's scary.
It's unbelievable. And the mere fact that we, as citizens, didn't even have the opportunity to vote in the first election of Obama. I wouldn't say that I really would want to.
I probably wouldn't have known who to vote for at that time. I was not.
We were pretty uneducated.
I wasn't really. I might have voted for Obama because he seemed different and more, laid back, but I wouldn't have known what I was voting for, really, and that would have been a scary thought to vote for something you don't know.
It was voting blind, because essentially, you hadn't heard much about the guy.
Mm-hmm.
He
just came across as a
pretty promising individual.
He had good speaking skills. That's really what people were sold on. It was his image, and a lot of people are still just sold on his image.
They don't care about what he ends up doing in his first and or second term. All they care about is what's in it for them.
Mm-hmm.
And
this is a president who promises more and more handouts.
Yeah, more and more handouts, more and more welfare payouts. Much more of a sort of reward standpoint on welfare and unemployment. People, this is not how capitalism works. This is nowhere close to how capitalism is supposed to flourish and exercise its full meaning.
Right. What I would want to live in is a world where I could go out in one day and start a business. And
not have a problem.
And I could legitimately run that business and have customers who would free exchange with me. And if I went out of business because of customers not wanting to buy my product, then I would either have to make my product better or I would go out of business.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd have to start a new business or something.
Yeah.
But that isn't even allowed to work. You can't succeed if you're not even allowed to start.
Exactly.
And that's how we are nowadays.
If you cannot start, how do you know?
If you can't create a product and sell it, or try and make money for yourself in a legit way where you're actually working, how are you ever going to get started?
It's essentially eliminating a vast majority of competition. That's all regulation does.
Mm-hmm.
It eliminates competition quite a bit.
And with free market, you would have regulation. It's called the free market.
The free market does what it does best.
That is
it
regulation.
Rules out the shit.
There's a reason that businesses go out of business. Sometimes they don't offer a very good product. That's obviously a business is going to have to offer a product that people want, need. That's voluntary exchange. That's the beauty of capitalism. Yeah. There's no force on either end. A person wants your product more than they want their money. And
if people want the product, they will be willing to pay for it.
And you're going to have to be willing to make it the best you can make it.
Yeah, and if you don't,
someone else in a free market will offer that, and they might make it better, and they'll end up succeeding, and you won't. So it's incentive. It provides incentive.
What do you want? Do you want to make a shitty product that's going to cost you less and earn you less, or make a product that'll cost you a little bit more, but it's going to reap you a shit ton of sales? That's all there is to it. It's exactly it. It's incentive to keep you in business. That's all it really is.
And it's a win-win. Everybody wins.
Yeah.
The person who's selling their product, they don't care about the person per se. They care about making a product that's going to make that person happy, and that person wants to give them money for that product, it's all voluntary, free exchange, and it's moral. It's the only moral system there is. I mean, nobody's being forced with a gun to do anything, and that's what's amazing about capitalism. I mean, it allows each person to benefit, you know? Mm-hmm. The business benefits from the money, and the person benefits from the product.
Exactly.
And it's perfect for everybody.
Yeah. Who does it penalize? The bad business. Right. That's practically all that gets penalized.
A business that is ripping people off, that's what gets punished.
Exactly. And that's the way ethics and, overall law should be. But not regulating. Mm-hmm. Don't enforce that through law. Enforce that through common ethics that people should fucking know, and competition that will rule them out. If you get a vast majority of people that'll be willing to make a good product, not a shitty product, but a good product, it's going to rule the people that are ripping people off, like Clint mentioned. It's going to rule them out. Mm-hmm. Period. End of story. It's not going to, cripple them. It's going to end them.
I mean, it's as if people think that, legitly, that a business that's poisoning people is going to continue to poison people. I mean, like there's nothing called word of mouth,
Exactly. I
mean, nobody can read,
look at the
articles
internet.
About it.
Look at the internet.
Yeah. I mean, nobody can read about how this business is poisoning people,
You talk about the 1960s and 1970s. The internet did not exist.
And it would have been a lot.
It would have been a lot more difficult to do it back then, given.
Right.
But we're in the 21st century.
Now it's easier than ever for word of mouth to help spread the word about a business. So
yeah,
you're very unlikely to get taken advantage of by a business, unless you're like traveling across the country and stop somewhere that you don't know about. But I mean,
that's just how it is.
I mean, that's a risk you gotta take.
Yeah, I mean that's you kind of want to do your research on that before you get to that point.
Yeah. It's on the individual to make sure they know what they're doing and make sure they know where they're eating or where they're what they're buying.
I mean that's just all there is to it. That you talk about. When you talk about shitty products, if you're a big enough business right now, it doesn't really matter if you make good products or if you make bad products.
It doesn't.
You're too big to fail.
That's the problem.
That's the problem right there.
I mean, there are businesses who are basically, they have no incentive, absolutely none. Some of these big corporations, they have no incentive at all to create a better product. They have no incentive at all because they don't have that risk. They have
the last resort called the government to bail their ass out.
I mean,
look at all the insurance companies. Look at the fucking top 3 automakers. I mean, it's just like, people, this is what's wrong. Let the free market do its own goddamn thing. Leave it alone.
I think people are legitly confused and they demonize the free market, and they honestly think that we've had a true free market, system, and we haven't. Well, we've never actually had a free market, and really, how can you demonize something
that isn't even in existence,
that you haven't even given a shot to yet? I mean, that's what's so crazy. I mean, we can demonize regulation because we've seen what it does. Mm-hmm. It's there. It's not just something we're coming up with at the top of our head that has, it's not like we're just opinionated because we heard someone else say it was bad and we're just spouting. I mean,
no, it's fucking proven.
It's in your face.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's all over.
Because it's the way our system's been ran. And we've seen the problems that it's caused, so where's the proof that a free market and capitalism is bad? I mean, there is none. You don't have the proof that that's going to hurt people, I mean, it's the most moral system in place. And people literally trust government more than they do just
other people,
an individual, like the people who trust, the police to carry guns more than an individual. I mean, have you seen the way the police behave nowadays?
Yeah,
I mean, they're like gangs half the time.
Yeah, I mean, they're beating the shit out of people for no fucking reason.
So how can you trust police officers and the government and, the military and without trusting an individual, your neighbor? I mean, it's just...
And the Department of Defense is probably as much to blame, of any blame whatsoever. I mean, it's just... And the executives up top especially. I mean... They're setting all of these goddamn rules and whatnot and regulations into place for people to, abide by all this stuff. But, yeah, I mean, absolutely. It comes down on the police authority whether or not they want to enforce that ruling or not. If it's unconstitutional, don't fucking follow it, But, no, people are fucking worried that they're going to lose their job because it's public and that they can be replaced, quote-unquote, and that, they're not going to do it just because of the mere fact that that could happen. And that's what's wrong, is that they're so self-centered.
Well, it's like tenure in teaching. I mean, you basically make it impossible to fire a teacher.
Yeah.
And you can't make it impossible to fire somebody. I mean, if somebody's not performing, well, if we have teachers, it's basically becoming a union. I mean, you can't fire them. And, once they've been around for, 3 years and have earned that tenure, then, their incentive to work hard, that might go down and they might become, cruddy teachers. You really want that? I mean...
And unions are a major league problem also.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
I mean, unions are killing business.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where a lot of the too big to fail comes from, I would think personally.
Mm-hmm.
When I sit down and I think about it on paper and in my mind, there are more businesses that literally have strikes and whatnot because their unions are just getting so fucking massive that if they try and do like an overtime pay cut, or, they're cutting down on overtime hours or something that's going to make the workers somewhat unhappy, the unions just override the business entirely. And that's what's wrong, is that the government is trying to put the mindset that unions are the most important thing in the job place today.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like brainwashing people right there. That's just one of the many brainwashing tactics they've tried. But unions, I mean, show me one instance where a union has, like, literally succeeded for the good of the American people. It's hard to find an instance, trust me. And that's the problem, I think, with a lot of them. Because even in public instances, like publicly ran stuff,
mm-hmm.
like there's firefighters in D.C. right now that are getting paid like $250,000 fucking dollars just from unions.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's wrong. If you want to have a union in your own private fucking company, be my guest.
Pay for it yourself.
Yeah, I mean...
But what should piss you off is the fact that it's taxpayer money.
Exactly.
It's
going to shit that does not even need to be in existence whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
If it's a public union, it's gone. I don't care. It's gone. If you want a union in a private industry, fine. It's not affecting my taxpayer dollars.
Yeah.
And it's not affecting your tax dollars either. It's all coming down to the people that work for that company and the ones that are going to be affected by that company,
mm-hmm.
which is more than likely going to be an internal issue. At the very last part of the chain of events, it would be to the customers, but it's literally got to go through so many people to get to the customer.
Yeah.
If it gets to the customer, the company is practically ran out of business. It's just all there is to it.
Well, the union benefits pretty much the only thing, it benefits the people who work for it and the big union bosses.
Claims it benefits the workers.
I mean,
that's the problem.
Yeah, I mean, they get all these, all these special, high-paying things, all these, days, sick days, paid vacations, all this stuff that union, these special things that are attached, and it's just bad for people overall, because it's not providing incentive to produce a good product, and because the money's coming from the private sector, and it's ridiculous.
It's insane because you look at a lot of and that's the problem even with unions in a large private industries. You talk about huge employee companies, like 300 to 500 plus employee companies that have unions, and they're in the private sector, but they have unions, and a lot of these dues that these employees, not necessarily the executives, but mostly the employees are paying for, are going to these like top 6 or 10 people, otherwise known as the executives, and nobody's benefiting from it other than those 6 to 10 people.
It's great for the union bosses.
Yeah, I mean, it literally sucks money out of the worker to provide nothing for them. It's all it is it's just a subscription that's going to reap you no benefits. I mean, if you're going to sign up for a union, have it so that it's not going to take money out of my paycheck, and it's going to be non-profit. Then I will consider it. But the mere fact that money gets taken out of people's checks for no fucking reason, because that's a mandate in most instances. Otherwise, you're just going to be chastised and persecuted and whatnot out of the company. It's just like, why do we put this mindset into people? And why do we allow that mindset to exist?
Why have we allowed the mindset that, taxes are moral? I mean, why have we allowed the mindset that income tax is moral and that you don't keep what you earn? I mean, when has that ever become morally right? I mean, we're seen as radicals, me and Greg. I mean, we're radicals in this day and age because we don't buy into the whole tax system. I mean, we just feel like individuals should be able to keep, the money that they earn, and that's the way. I mean,
that's the way it should be.
Obviously, it is. I mean,
if you're going to get taxed, if you are going to at least get taxed, period, why not make it a proportional tax system? Not a progressive, but a proportional. If you make $10,000 a year, you're going to get taxed at 5%. If you make $100,000, you're getting taxed 5%. If you're making $250,000, you're getting taxed 5%. If you are going to tax people, provide the incentive that you are still going to get taxed the same amount if you make more money. That is more of an incentive to make more money than the current progressive income tax system that we have right now. Whereas if you make more money, you're getting taxed more.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not crazy about taxes, but if I had to pick one, I mean, flat tax would be...
It'd be
nice.
It'd be
way more fair, But honestly, I just think if our government just cut spending and stopped borrowing, that they wouldn't need our tax dollars.
No, you wouldn't. And that's the problem, is that...
And the private sector could... honestly provide the services that tax dollars go to. Most of them. Anyway.
If a lot of services and whatnot were down to a state level instead of a federal level, but if they were localized more, the cost in terms of all of your income tax and whatnot going to the IRS would obviously be down, because there's no need to have that extra income. Because your expenditures have gone significantly down. I mean,
and I think leaving that money in the private sector, it'll be better used by an individual. I mean, if they have more money out of their paycheck, if they get to keep more of what they earn, they'll be able to spend it to stimulate the economy in the private sector better than what the government can use it for.
And that's been proven that government spending excess money has literally done no good whenever there has been an excess. I mean, surplus-wise, when have you ever seen that happen? And if you have, when have you ever seen it really reap a lot of benefits to the people? You don't see that. Hell, if there was a surplus that Clinton had, why wouldn't we have seen massive economic growth? Given we did see a little bit. But if you're going to see that large of a surplus, the private sector would have absolutely no problems whatsoever. The economics behind it all just don't make sense. And the mere fact that people give Clinton perhaps the greatest credit that he could ever potentially deserve for that mere fact that he had the only surplus in quite a while is mind-boggling, because he hardly did anything with it. Mm-hmm. And
that's the thing. Government doesn't do...
No. It does not know what to do, because there are so little of people in the government, and quite frankly that there's too many people in the government, but there are still too small of people in practically all of Congress to try and decide what's best for the 300 plus million Americans in existence. I mean, they don't know.
I'm just tired.
How could they know?
I'm tired of my representatives, trying to represent me and not doing a good job.
They're not even
Our
close.
Representatives from Nebraska have done a terrible job. They voted for some really shitty things lately. And,
Hell, fucking Ben Nelson supported Obamacare, for Christ's sake. And you didn't even hear him run for election this previous time around. It's just like...
And I heard two of our conservatives, Adrian Smith and Deb Fisher, both voted for things like an internet tax. And it's like, who are these people we're sending to Washington to represent us? They don't represent me. I know that damn well. They aren't representing my feelings.
No, they're not even close. And that's the problem, is that, if we're going to have a government system set up, it needs to be localized, because it suits the interests of a certain people a lot better if the people that are serving them are obviously from the same area, have more than likely been born from there, or have lived there most of their life. So they know, how things go around the certain area. They know what to expect from the people in terms of concerns. They know what, all in all, is right for the people. And the mere fact that some dumbass from California or New York is going to practically be more of an influence through the electoral system than our senators will. And the mere fact that our senators can't even go to Washington for the right things. It's just like, the issue is right in front of you, people. That's the problem.
It's hard to believe how hard it is to get people to understand it. Half the people don't care, and then half of them just don't get it.
They're fucking sheep. There's
a lot of sheep out there.
It's unbelievable. I mean, there's more sheep out there than people that have gotten their head out of their fucking ass.
I think we'll really see just how many sheep there are in the coming years, because it takes something getting really, really bad for something to change. And, I think that's why we hear a lot more people talking about these issues now, is because it's gotten so bad. And it's more in your face now than ever. Mm-hmm. It's harder to ignore than ever.
Yeah.
And when something gets so bad that it completely breaks down, then you start seeing the change. But it'll be interesting to see, how many people are awake after this whole thing, after Obama's out of office. I mean, will we continue to vote for progressives, I mean, we'll be able to see just how zombified our nation really is. I mean, because if this doesn't wake people up enough to want to change the system, nothing will. Because this is just, it's gotten to the point where we're about to see an economic bust. I mean, a complete, we're going to be having to take wheelbarrows full of money down to the store. Like,
and even that.
You know, I mean,
you know, we're going to have...
Our economy's going to collapse.
We're essentially going to have like a German economy after World War II.
That's the only end result of this kind of inflation. I mean...
The dollar has literally become useless.
It's worth about 30 cents.
Yeah. I mean, if you honestly look at the chart and how drastic it has dropped in the past...
Since the Federal Reserve was created.
And in
Central
the 30s,
banking.
Yeah, it's insane. Like, even the late 1950s, I think the value of the dollar back then compared to now was like almost $6 compared to what it is now. And the mere fact that the Federal Reserve, the people that are basically in control of the money supply, are honestly thinking of the mindset that we need to print more money so that we can keep the value of the dollar down. If we want any economic leverage in this world economy, we need to have the value of our currency be the highest out of anyone's currency. That's how world economics functions. If you want leverage, if you want an economical say to the world, you need to have leverage. And through that, you need a damn nice currency. But it's nowhere close.
This system we have in place now, it will not be able to maintain itself.
No, it can't.
We will see an economic collapse. It's not an issue of if, it's an issue of when.
When?
When will it happen? Nobody really knows. But this system cannot continue to prop itself up forever.
Hell, in 10 years, it can't prop itself that long.
The only thing that's keeping our economy from collapsing is the mindset of the trust in a dollar. That's it.
That's, yeah. If
people finally woke up around the world and it was no longer thought of as a reserve currency and a really, worthwhile thing, then our economy would absolutely collapse.
Yeah.
And that's scary that all it takes is a change in the trust of a dollar. That shouldn't, you shouldn't have your economy and your whole thing built on that blind trust. It should be backed up by something, worth, Yeah. Backed up by worth. But, it's not.
We need hard money.
Right.
We need a lot more hard money than we do soft money, a.k.a. our printable dollar that is, quite frankly, burnable.
Mm-hmm.
It's flammable. It's a paper. It's not gold. It's not silver. It's not platinum. It's fucking... It's like parchment paper. It's nothing. It's literally... You could set a fucking flame on this shit. You could literally set the whole Federal Reserve on fire. Every district of the Federal Reserve on fire. And our economy would collapse. Because we literally have absolutely no hard money to back it up whatsoever.
No, if you don't have anything to back the money up with, of any real value, then how can you expect...
What's the point of having the dollar?
You can't ever expect an economy to be functioning.
Yeah, if you don't have any sort of last resort plan for your economy, then why or how is it in existence? You need a backup plan even if the economy busts, which it always fucking does. If you want the U.S. formerly capitalistic economy to survive, you need some sort of proven and increased value in currency, like gold, or platinum, or silver. It's something that is not renewable. It's not printable. It's, quite frankly, diminishing in value. or diminishing in quantity, I should say. And the value is skyrocketing. Like, if the Federal Reserve had invested a shit ton of money in all three of those hard currencies back in the 60s, back when it even existed, when the Federal Reserve got put in place, when the Great Depression was in existence, we would have no, even the economy right now would be alright. But it hasn't happened.
Central banking is destroying it. And our forefounders' history, again, it worried us. It warned us about all this stuff. I mean, there's a reason that, a central bank was pretty much completely discouraged by our founders. I mean, some of them wanted it, but a person like Jefferson, I mean, he warned against it, and a lot of them fought it, and we didn't have it in place until 1913. So, I mean, all these problems that have caused since we've had a central bank, it's clear that kind of banking doesn't work. And the Federal Reserve is just... There's a politician who's been talking about it for years. Ron Paul, he's been talking about it since the 80s. I mean, he knows that the Federal Reserve needs to go.
Yeah.
And hardly anyone listens to the guy.
Hell, he mentioned that back then, even.
Yeah. Shit, this guy has been talking about it for 30 years.
Nothing has happened. That's the problem, is that no one gives a shit about Ron Paul.
No one's listened to Ron.
Oh, he's
kooky.
He's an old, mentally ill person from Texas.
He's a kook. Whatever. He's a true conservative.
He's
a libertarian. He's a good guy.
He's a fucking impressive libertarian that honestly cares about people like us who he's never talked to in his life before.
He cares about the individual.
He cares about the individual and their ability to prosper and flourish as an individual economically, politically,
personal life,
personally,
everything.
I mean, it's just, they want the individual to be successful. And promoting that is beautiful. I mean, it's just the mere fact that people are looking at Ron Paul, even his son Rand, and saying, "What the fuck did you just say?" And they're saying that
as radicals.
They're saying that to them in a straight face, and it's just like, no,
these aren't radical ideas. These are the ideas that our country was founded on.
Exactly.
And somebody's finally talking about it, and nobody's listening.
You look at all the assholes in the media today saying, like fucking Michael Moore saying that the fucking Constitution was a document to follow back then, but it's not in existence today. It doesn't have any value today. It's like, I'm sorry, we're in America and you can get the fuck out right now.
The Constitution is law of the land.
Exactly.
And it sets up to make it so that every individual has the same rights.
Why do we have a police set up? To be the fucking enforcer of the law of the fucking land. But oh wait. The police couldn't possibly be crooked bastards.
No, because a system's set up where in order for them to get paid, they have to make more laws and bust more people.
Yeah.
That could never corrupt anybody, ever.
Bust law-abiding citizens,
right.
I may
add. Create a system where you can go to jail for non-violent crimes for years and years and years, instead of focusing on hard criminals. I mean,
yeah.
A system where cops, basically, their budget gets bigger and bigger the more laws get passed. I mean, that system could never become corrupt.
No, not a chance. I mean, look at the NSA. I mean, look at the CIA. Look at the fucking FBI. Look at all these goddamn companies that are just practically, all they are concerned about is tracking people that could be potential terrorists and people that could be mentally ill.
Potential. Oh.
Yeah, it's just potential this, potential that. It's just like, you don't fucking know. Look at all these people that are getting false imprisoned on shit that they didn't hardly fucking do. It's just like, you are essentially promoting everyone to be a criminal. There's
enough laws that everybody's a felon.
Exactly.
And how the fuck is a country supposed to thrive in freedom if that's the case?
If everyone's a criminal, what's wrong with this?
I'm pretty sure everyone's not a criminal.
Yeah.
I mean, shit. Even things like, dictating drug laws. I mean, locking people up for something they do with their own.
Anyways, you were saying?
Oh, if I want to smoke a bowl of marijuana in my own home, I'm going to do it.
You're going to fucking do it.
And I'm not going to go to jail because, honestly, I've not hurt one individual. And the system that we have in place is that our prison population is absolutely filled to the max. I mean, we're the most highly prison population. You're making everyday people criminals. I mean, for laziness, for God's sakes. I mean, a person who does marijuana and is lazy, And
they're going to fucking stay at their own goddamn house.
That's their own problem. I mean that's not our problem, and we shouldn't have to pay for it.
They can rot in their own fucking house if they're just going to do that. I don't care.
It's not
affecting us.
But what is affecting us is a drug law that causes us to have to pay for those people in prison.
To exist in prison, yes.
To go on a permanent vacation in prison.
Exactly.
I mean, prison is supposed to be for hard criminals, is it not?
Exactly. That's the sole purpose of a fucking institution of corrections. It's not to correct people that have literally done nothing.
Their personal habits.
Exactly.
Heroin, things like that.
It's not affecting the general people other than the fact...
That's a family issue. That's not a fucking federal issue.
No, it shouldn't be.
But now it is.
Exactly. I mean, the mere fact that they think it's the right mindset to pay for someone to have air conditioning, to have heating, to have fucking meals, to have a place to sleep,
all because their habits weren't right.
All because...
Fuck you!
It's just like, why should that matter?
Why should I be affected by that?
If someone is going to literally smoke a bunch of pot on a Friday night, go out party their ass,
like they're gonna just drink a beer, maybe,
go party their ass off in their house, go to bed that night, wake up Saturday morning, cook themselves breakfast, and then go wash their damn car. Why should that be looked at as wrongdoing?
Why are we treating alcohol and marijuana differently? I mean,
yeah.
Why can someone have a beer or go out and drink and get drunk, but why can't someone, have a doobie in their house? I mean, why do we have to worry about cops without warrants busting people's doors down looking for drugs? I mean, what kind of society is that?
And quite frankly, drinking would have more of an issue because, I mean, that's more of a public setting than a bunch of pot smoking in your house.
Oh, yeah.
I mean...
Obviously, the same laws are going to apply. You can't, obviously you can't drink and drive. You can't put others at risk like that. But in your own home, I'm sick of seeing drug raids, I'm getting really tired of it.
It's just like, where's your warrant, one? Mm. Two, what's the fucking probable cause for that bullshit? I mean...
Who am I affecting?
Yeah.
Besides myself.
Who are you and other people in the house? Other than that, who else are you fucking affecting? If they're getting pissed off, they'll fucking leave. Mm-hmm. If that's literally all an apartment complex is known for, it's going to rule out a lot of fucking people that don't want to fucking do it. Mm-hmm. But
our system is just set up where, everyone's going to jail, cops are becoming fucking gangs and breaking down people's doors without warrants, and we're paying for it.
I'm not saying that... I'm not saying that smoking pot is a good thing.
Well, yeah, you don't endorse it.
I don't endorse it publicly. I don't endorse it privately. I don't endorse it whatsoever. But leave the freedom down to the people.
Right.
I'm not. It's like having an opinion that you disagree with. I may disagree with you, but I value your opinion. I can disagree with it if I want to. You can disagree with my opinion if you want to. But give people the thought, and you have the thought for yourself, that you value someone's opinion. Because that shows respect for people. And they're going to appreciate that.
But all these laws are doing is just creating a huge bureaucracy of
criminals that aren't even in existence.
It's creating criminals. It's creating hard criminals. I mean,
yeah,
a drug offender might turn into a fucking gangbanger, He might turn into some kind of thief or a fucking rapist or something, because he can't get his life back on track.
Yeah.
Because he has this permanent rap sheet.
Yeah.
This shit is causing a lot of problems. It causes a black market in drugs. It causes, You know, you not to know what drug you're getting because it's on the street and you can't regulate it, so you don't know what you're getting. And it's more harmful.
I mean, this and hats off to the people in Colorado and the states that have had drugs like marijuana legalized. And
a state issue.
That's
great.
That's a state issue. Cut and dry. That's a state issue, and a lot of things need to be moved down to a state issue. Practically 90% of all state issues, if they were moved down to a state issue instead of a federal issue, I mean, things would be so much better off. And that's exactly what's going wrong with this medical marijuana and shit that's coming from Colorado, and it's getting into Nebraska. We're arresting people for that. It's just like, this is a state issue that everyone needs to consider. This is not just a Colorado and Washington or whoever issue. It needs to be an issue discussed by every state.
Every state should be voting on it. It should be on the ballot.
Yeah, it just needs to get out of federal hands. That's all I'm trying to say. That's all I'm really trying to get after. It needs to be moved down to a more localized point of interest.
Look, Greg and I, and many libertarians or whatever, who are, against drug laws, we're not, endorsing drug use. We're not endorsing it. No. I'm not saying that I think it's constructive for somebody to do drugs, but I don't think I should have to pay for the consequences.
Exactly.
That's what it shifts the blame from an individual onto everybody else.
Exactly.
While if you're doing drugs and there's no law, if you crash and fail because of the drug, you reap the consequence of your action, not anybody else.
It needs to be put on you, and just you. And
the only way you can do that is to get rid of the law.
Exactly.
Because with the law, it's going to place all the burden on us.
Exactly. It's not going to put any burden on...
With increased prison population and all this crap,
it needs to get put down on you. And at the very, at worst case scenario, if a penalty needs to be enforced, put them at a fine, put them at, probation, whatever. But don't throw their ass in jail, for Christ's sake. Unless they're
going to be around all those hard criminals, and then what's going to happen?
Yeah.
Who knows what the person turns into after that?
It's just like this...
Putting a 20-year-old in prison for marijuana, you think he's going to come out the same way?
Fuck no.
Probably not.
God, no. If you had that mindset... You think his life's
going to get straightened out after that?
If you had that mindset, YouTube world, if you are watching this and you have that mindset that, nothing could go wrong with somebody in prison, you honestly need to go to fucking prison. Because you need to experience what wrong sayings you just said right there. Because prison is not the place to really exist in. Prison is a place you are to avoid.
It's for the scum.
It's for...
Violent criminals.
It's for the fucking...
Thieves, rapists, murderers, molesters, all this shit.
The scum of the earth. It needs to be a place for them.
You separate them from everybody else. That's the point. You don't put people who get a parking ticket in prison. You don't get people who put things in their body in prison. You don't put non-violent criminals in prison and mix them with all the hard criminals. That's creating a system of just...
That's doing more worse than it is good.
Oh, it's absolutely destroying people.
It's killing the mindset that the American people all of a sudden had for hard criminals. Because all of a sudden, hard criminals...
Could be anybody.
Could be anybody.
There's...
soft criminals, people that have really done nothing. People that have done shit.
Other than have a bad habit.
Yeah. Are all of a sudden turned into this fucking murder. This rapist or whatever.
They become a hardened criminal from being around that. Being in that setting for long enough.
This arsonist or this, whatever. It turns somebody who could have been a really nice person.
They could have worked. They could have been a great person in the community.
They could have been a person to really look forward to.
They could have had
at the workplace.
They could have had a shitty personal hobby, but been very productive.
publicly.
You know, you never know.
I mean, you need to take private issues out of the public interest. I mean, you need to leave a private issue into the individual's hands.
In the family of the individual.
I mean,
that is where
that's where it belongs. I mean, it needs to be, if it's not, if an issue that some person that loves weed in Colorado, it should not be put on my or your burden for something that they did. You know, if it's something that I do that's wrong, it needs to be with me and my family. Mm-hmm. You don't need to be at any burden whatsoever.
Mm-hmm. And all these drug laws do is just places the burden onto us.
On the general public.
Plus, I shouldn't have to be without a service that person may or may not have created. I shouldn't have to be without that because they got thrown in jail and could never get a business started or get employed again because of that. I mean,
yeah,
I shouldn't have to be without...
That's essentially taking a potentially skilled worker or valued employee out of the free market.
Because once they have that on their rap sheet,
they can't fucking do anything.
There's nothing you can do. Getting a job after that is
nearly impossible.
So you're just creating just people just sitting around doing nothing. You're just creating people who can't succeed in this place.
And people who constantly rely on welfare, on unemployment.
The whole system is just...
that's what's wrong. You're all of a sudden making a criminal out of someone that didn't do anything, and now all of a sudden they're fucking relying on the system. And
the welfare system, that is the main thing. That's the most immoral thing.
Exactly. I mean, they've gone through a publicly supported prison system. Now when they are out of the prison system, now all of a sudden they're on the welfare system. It's like
the welfare system, man, that one we could dissect for an hour because
yes.
That has created many of the social issues of our country. That has created immigration problems, it's created poverty problems, it's created people not working,
unemployment problems,
holding people down, all this stuff.
I mean,
racism, it's created all these things. The welfare system has created just
all on its own. And literally a vast majority of the blame for the collapse of the U.S. economy currently is perhaps one of those things.
Mm-hmm. It's bad.
Unemployment and unions are a vast issue. I mean, other than regulations and labor laws and everything, those are two big issues right there. That's the problem. You look at a cost-benefit analysis of unions and welfare especially, it's ethically wise, it's not even there. It's not even in existence. It's unbelievable that someone literally of our age or someone that's older than us can literally have the mindset that, oh, welfare is a good thing. Mm-hmm. Welfare will get people back on the right track. Welfare will get people up to the spot that they needed to get to, but they just didn't have the effort to get there originally. Mm-hmm. But the welfare system, it'll go above and beyond what the individual could have done. No, it comes down on the individual. You give any person any benefit whatsoever through public funds, it's not going to affect their mindset.
It creates poverty.
Exactly.
It really does.
That's all it comes down to. It creates unemployment and it creates poverty. That's it. It relies on government assistance. It does not rely on the person's assistance. Because you're constantly getting a handout. What incentive do you have to go back and work? Mm-hmm. It just needs to be abolished altogether.
And people will use the People say that that
the public welfare.
People think that the welfare has helped minorities, and you look at it, it's done the exact opposite.
Exact opposite.
I mean, blacks used to be off pretty well. They used to have Walter Williams did a very good demonstration of this. The government welfare and all the subsidized housing that they've created for ghettos and stuff, I mean, it's held black people down from getting jobs, from being hardworking individuals. It's created more poverty and more... I mean, the black man's worse off now because of government interference, you know?
Yeah.
That's the problem. Same with Indians, you know? Native Americans have always had government intrusion, and a lot of the reservations their government ran, you know, they're slums.
Yeah.
Because, you know,
they're crack houses.
There's no incentive for a person to rise up and create something.
Yeah.
Because they can just receive money from the government. Yeah. And it just keeps them down. That's what welfare does to everybody.
Yeah. It would happen to you and me.
Mm-hmm. Anybody.
It does not matter who it is.
It doesn't.
It does not. That has nothing to do with nothing. Mm-hmm. Welfare to anyone will have the same effect as everyone else. It does not matter who gets the welfare. It's a one-size-fits-all issue, you know, because it's all of a sudden giving you the mindset, why should I work? Mm-hmm. That's all it's doing, is it's telling you, why should I work? I'm getting a handout from the government.
Well,
why should I change my mindset all of a sudden?
And this goes back to taxes as well. I mean, welfare is not taxable, so honestly...
Bingo!
Honestly, if a person can make more off welfare than they would
off of taxable income,
off of minimum wage, which is very much a possibility that you'd get enough taken out of taxes that you would make more on welfare. If the taxes weren't around, you know, maybe people would have more incentive to actually get minimum wage jobs or something, you know?
If the tax was minimized.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't matter if it's... it'd be great if it was completely eliminated, but hell, if it was minimized. If it was down to a flat tax even, you know, you're providing incentive for people to work hard and be economically successful.
The system should never have been created to allow you to be able to make more on welfare than you would on just a minimum wage job.
And that's what
should never have been created that way.
No, absolutely. Absolutely.
That is a huge
mistake. Question about it.
That's a huge mistake.
That's the major issue, is that all of a sudden, you could
a person does the math, and what do you think they're going to do?
Yeah.
They're going to pick the system that gives them more money.
Exactly. Absolutely. And that's what's wrong with, that's one of the many things that's wrong with the IRS. You need to make welfare taxable. I don't care. Any income that you practically receive, any other income that you practically receive through compensation, through wages, through salaries, through capital gains, through dividends, through interest income off of savings accounts, it's taxable income. If you are going to make welfare damn easy to access and receive, you need to make it taxable. I don't care. I don't care if that's all the income is someone is receiving. If it is income that they are receiving from something or some institution, it's taxable. I don't give a shit. Case closed. You know?
Well, Greg, you ask why some people could support this stuff, and you know, it all looks good on paper.
Exactly.
All these liberal ideas look good on paper. Minimum wage looks great on paper, you know? Give people more.
Mm-hmm.
You know, people won't get left behind, you know?
Yeah.
No one will be exploited that way.
Yeah.
Or
more they'll spend more and more into the economy, you know?
Or welfare, you know? We're going to provide a safety net.
Yeah.
You know, things like this. But, you know, the unforeseen consequences of these things, you have to dig past, and almost all of them have these unintended consequences that are actually worse off for everybody.
And they're like, oh, that was in the fine print that nobody could have possibly seen coming. I'm sorry, if you paid attention to economics, and you actually had a general idea of this shit, you would have been of the majority of the people that would have said, don't do it. But clearly, people that are in the ultimate control, that are calling all the shots, they don't pay attention to you.
The big problem is that...
look at corn ethanol.
Yeah.
It's 20 cents fucking cheaper than regular unleaded. Why should I spend more to burn my goddamn car? You know? you look at cost per mile of that shit, and fucking ethanol, cost per mile wise, is practically twice as much as unleaded.
It's what you pay for.
if corn ethanol was down to 50 cents to $1, a lot more people would make a lot more sense, but it's not even close to that.
Yeah.
It's not even fucking close.
The difference isn't enough to make up for it, for the lack of...
You've essentially gone from like...
You're still getting a net loss at the end of the day.
You're going from like 10, 15 cents per mile cost-wise to fucking like 25, maybe 28. It's just what the costs and benefits look like on the surface have absolutely no long-term effects whatsoever. You need to stop looking on the surface, people. Mm-hmm. You need to stop looking at the short-term gains that you're getting. Because
don't look at what it sounds like on paper.
Yeah.
Don't let your emotions control your judgment of a system. Welfare sounds great. We want to help people out. Guess what else helps people out? Charity.
Charity.
What happened to charity? What happened to
what happened to the Christian mindset?
What happened to what happened to just helping people out who truly need it?
Yeah.
Why do we have to have this system where taxpayers have to pay for everybody else? I mean, when did that come? I mean, when did just individual charity and just group charities when did that go out the door?
When did that go to shit?
When did just the kindness of wanting to help somebody just without coercion, without a gun pointed to you, when did that go away? I mean,
that's another problem with taxes, essentially. It's the difference between that and theft.
There's none.
There is
one's
none.
legalized and one's not.
Yeah.
One's private and one's collective.
Mm-hmm.
A tax is a collective theft, and it is legal.
Mm-hmm.
While privately, if you rob somebody and give that money to someone to help them get food or
whatever,
you would be condemned as a criminal.
Yeah.
You would be arrested and thrown in jail for taking money. Why do we not treat collective things the same as private things?
Yeah. If it's theft, it's theft.
Why is something that's done privately, like counterfeiting money, why when the Federal Reserve does it, is it legal?
Yeah.
Collective, almost makes everything okay.
Yeah.
While in the private sector, it's considered against the law, which...
It's criminal.
Which, both of them...
are criminal.
It fits in both shoes. That's the problem.
It's a one issue applies to all parties thing.
Mm-hmm. Collective, things that the collective public sector can get away with that private individuals can't. I mean, that just proves how corrupt the system really is.
Yeah.
And the biggest problem, Greg, honestly, is that we have a system set up where politicians have to do more. People want them to do more. People want more done in the economy from a politician. People want more done. They vote for people who are going to do more. And honestly, a politician should be doing less. They should be leaving it up to the private sector. But that doesn't sound as nice.
That doesn't. Yeah. That just the benefits just aren't there.
A politician is voted for so they do more. They create more laws.
They do more for the people.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, it's a system where the more they do and the more interference they cause, the worse off we are. And that system is in place where people don't realize that. They just vote for people who are going to do more. A president, how good a president is always judged on how much he does. How many laws and bills he passes, how many acts he passes through. It's not how much he leaves up to the private sector, how much he stays out of the way. That's the problem. Our politicians are expected to magically bring us wealth and all this stuff via all sorts of different programs, and it just doesn't work. And of course it sounds nice, and so many people are just brainwashed into thinking that it's really helping everybody out. And at the end of the day, it's not. And it's hard to get people to realize that because everyone wants to do more and they want more and more and more, but at the end of the day, the only thing that can allow you to get more is to be left alone.
That's it. That's all there is to it. I mean, you just need to leave the people to decide, what they're gonna do with stuff. I mean, you just got to leave the freedom as sort of a privilege. Give people those privileges, and if they don't deserve them, take it away from them.
Mm-hmm. Personal responsibility.
You need to develop the personal responsibility and the added benefit of having multiple privileges. You just need to develop that mindset that if you are a good behavior, you should be benefited for it. You should be compensated for it. You should be given benefits for doing the right thing ethically, morally, and lawfully.
That's the thing. The added freedoms will place more on the individual, more responsibility on the individual. And to have those freedoms, you have to have that responsibility.
And morals are perhaps more of a bias, in my opinion, on things. Should be more of a bias on things than ethics.
The morals is the ultimate talisman.
Exactly.
Not the legality. Whether it's legal or not, it's moral. That is really what...
Legality needs to be like the last thing to consider, if anything.
Walter A. Williams is brilliant. He says it. He says it. We cannot establish legality as our talisman.
No.
Because things like Nazis, and a lot of the things that are legal are often immoral.
Yeah.
And if we just blindly follow every law and think it's legal and it must be moral, you're going to end up with an issue that's way too black and white. It's not that black and white. I mean,
no.
You got to have a moral sense. And if a law is immoral, then why should we follow it?
Exactly. That's the thing. You just need to develop.
Walter E. Williams said we're sheep.
Exactly.
People are just sheep, blindly following any law that's around because, since our almighty government valued it as a law, it must be true.
It's got to be good.
It's got to be good for everybody.
How could it possibly hurt the American people?
Just like things that are illegal are often demonized when, quite frankly, something like prohibition, for example, that just created more problems.
Well, it's just legalizing morality, or legislating morality, I should say. Legislating morality is a very, very, and do I stress very, difficult thing to do. The morality has got to be there. If you want to legislate morality, you're essentially forcing beliefs down people's throats.
It's a one shoe fits all thing.
Exactly.
Which is, and that's not how it is.
No,
the world is filled with so many different people that you can't have a one shoe fits size.
And that's the problem. If you want to legislate morality, good fucking luck.
Yeah.
Because the chance of you succeeding from that belief are I mean, you're talking fractions of a percentage.
That's what divides the country, and honestly, that's where the Republican Party has failed. They have completely failed. They've tried to establish laws based on morality, and it's pissed people off.
Yep.
And nobody takes Republicans seriously because, honestly, they've become kind of like Nazis. I mean, it's ridiculous. They're like trying to get in your bedroom and control what you're doing in your personal life. And yet, yeah, it's great to, want people to be moral, but, what's moral for one person, maybe the other person,
And that's the problem. You're forcing church and state out the fucking door. The chances of you legislating morality would be much higher if you had sort of one religion, kind of like the Christian belief that sort of founded this country as a whole. If you sort of forced one religion, rather, to the whole general people. If you wanted everyone to believe the same morals, that would be your best shot.
And guess what that would involve doing? Breaking the First Amendment.
Yeah.
Freedom of religion. So, honestly, the whole thing is just set up where you're going to be breaking Constitution no matter what.
Yeah.
And
it
doesn't work.
Yeah, exactly. If it is unconstitutional, I'm sorry, it's fucking wrong.
We have freedom of speech, we have freedom of religion.
Well, and that's the problem with this fucking bullshit that they've passed right now. If you want to say anything bad about your government, you could be arrested for that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's kind of like the Alien and Sedition Acts back in the fucking 1900s. Like the fucking early parts of the 1900s.
Yeah.
I mean, this was saying that, oh, the draft is bad, you know, and people got fucking arrested for that shit.
Mm-hmm.
People got arrested for expressing their First Amendment fucking rights. Because, oh, the government, they don't have the right to fucking enforce a draft. They don't have the right to enforce you to fucking do something like that. They got arrested for expressing their fucking beliefs.
And that should piss everyone off.
That should have literally, that should have literally started a fucking another civil war while we were in World War fucking One.
Yeah. People should be willing to get so pissed off about these things.
And the mere fact that the people were so scared from that, you know, that's, I think that right there, the Alien and Sedition Acts are, I don't know if they were the sole spark, but they were one of them to the whole big government theme that literally took effect another 20 years down the road in the 1930s. Because that was, I think that was late 1900s, early 19-teens when that act got passed, when the Alien Sedition Act got passed. Was that, I think that's what it was called anyways. The Sedition Acts, I think.
Alien Sedition Act was the one that prevented you to speak out.
I think that was, yeah.
It really was. But I thought I remembered hearing that it was during one of the founders' presidencies. That would have been way before the 1900s. So I don't remember exactly when it came out.
But I think it really got put in effect. Like, because I was reading about it in history. And it was around there when people got arrested for that. In the 19-teens. Got arrested for calling the American government out.
Well, it wouldn't surprise me. I know during the Hoover administration, or not during the Hoover, during the Woodrow Wilson administration, that guy was a tyrant. I mean, you couldn't speak out against the government. It was.
I think that
really
was
bad. It might have been during that.
I think it was.
It was during that time period
because it's just developing that mindset that you cannot even speak out against your own government. The government's to serve the people, and if the people can't voice their voice, the people are all of a sudden kind of in a crippled position, socially wise, and politically.
It's really scary. There are these constitution-free zones now, where the Constitution doesn't apply to certain spots of the United States.
Like Chicago, I would think Chicago would probably be one of the main places to call a sort of a constitution-free zone.
I mean, can you believe that? How fucking communist is that? I mean, Jesus Christ. How much more fascist can you get? A constitution-free zone where you can be arrested for practically anything.
You could be arrested for holding guns in your house. And that you hardly fucking use. You know, it's just like, you honestly say that constitution-free zone could be a good thing? Why would you even say that?
I don't know.
I mean, why would you?
It should scare people, because once that starts happening, that could be established anywhere.
That's a domino effect.
Yeah.
Waiting to fucking happen. And that's the problem. You know,
well, our Constitution isn't taken seriously anymore, so
no.
What else do you expect?
I mean,
there's nothing really keeping it glued together anymore.
The government has essentially bypassed everything.
They've picked little pieces of each constitutional amendment, and they just said, screw it.
Fuck it, yeah.
You know? Like, you no longer have the right to remain silent. You know, that was getting taken out of the Miranda rights, I mean, by the Supreme Court. I mean, can you believe this shit? This is stuff that you can't just pick and choose different parts of the Constitution to follow. You either follow the whole thing or you don't follow it at all.
Don't follow it at all, yeah.
You know? That's just the problem with all these amendments have been picked apart slowly, you know, and eventually your Constitution just begins to not hold water anymore, and they could pick anything out of it. I mean, they could. It's just scary. I mean, this should piss everyone off.
Yeah.
Everybody should be pissed off about this.
It's just like,
it's exhausting just talking about it. I'm exhausted because
it's just...
I see this world crumbling around us, Greg, and I just...
It's tiring, I tell you. It's mind-boggling. It's just unbelievable. Like, you talk about the collapse of the American people. I don't know if I've literally seen such a collapse ever fucking exist before in American history. Like, I can't say in our lifetime because we literally have not... We haven't seen... that much of history in our lifetimes. But in American history, that fact scares the shit out of you.
It's bad, man.
I mean...
All of this is going to affect us as adults. And it's going to affect, if we have kids, it's going to affect them. I mean...
Exactly.
It's really going to affect...
The mere fact if we can even have a family.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just... The mindset that your life could essentially be controlled by the government entirely is essentially like...
That's going back to Nazi Germany.
Exactly. That's essentially going back to Nazi Germany.
Details being different, but it's the same system.
It's the same overview philosophy.
Mm-hmm. Authoritarianism and fascism. I mean, it's scary, man.
It's just like,
oh my God, I don't want that. We're in America, God's sakes.
If I wanted to fucking live...
I'd go to North Korea and
If
live.
I wanted to fucking have a goddamn command economy, if I wanted to have a goddamn socialist viewpoint, communism, you name it, I would fucking go to North Korea.
You get it all there, you know?
If I wanted to fucking...
You can't protest your government without getting shot there.
Exactly.
If you like that kind of stuff,
if you like that mindset, fucking go over there. We don't need you here.
But this is America.
This is America, and all of a sudden, oh, that fucking viewpoint's welcomed. It's like, I'm sorry. There's the fucking door.
It's not welcome.
You could fucking leave.
I know a lot of us don't welcome it.
And, yeah.
There's a lot of people, young people, that are waking up, you know. There's a lot of young people who don't care. There's a lot of young people who like Obama, but there's a lot of young people who are waking up, and it'll definitely be interesting to see how our generation, once they're in control, you know, what they end up doing, you know. It'll I think it ends I think it ends with our generation. I mean, what our generation does with the mess that we've been handed is going to really determine how the rest of society in America happens.
This is essentially...
The buck stops here, people.
I mean, it's... The generation that is literally making this mess is going to go down in history as perhaps the worst generation for the American people.
Mm-hmm.
And quite frankly, our parents' generation, that's sad.
It is.
That was our parents' generation that did it all.
Parents, grandparents, and they've all just been brainwashed.
But our grandparents,
you know?
Our grandparents were literally like, yeah, they had some influence in it, but for the most part, our parents' generation was perhaps the one that took it to the next level. Those two generations right there were perhaps the two generations that are going to go down in American history as the socialists.
They've screwed us.
They have literally fucked our future.
And what's scary is those same people are also raising this generation. That's what's scary. I mean, who doesn't want to listen to their parents and what their parents believe? I mean, and what you get taught in public schools. I mean, this whole thing is indoctrinating people.
And that's the problem, is that, the public education system, that's what's wrong.
It's brainwashing.
It's brainwashing people, because criteria is essentially set by the fucking Department of Education, which is controlled by the fucking Congress.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if the government wants to set the mindset into kids that governmental control is the right thing, I mean,
that'll herald the end of the republic. Yes, we will never get our country back if we have too many people. The majority of Americans think that way, then you're screwed.
Yeah, you are absolutely fucked.
You can't overcome a majority. I mean, unfortunately, you can't. And in order to get the system to change, you have to get the people to change. The people have to change.
It comes down to the individual.
Right. It's society. We as a society who vote in these people, I mean, we're the ones who control it. If we don't like it, we could change it, but there's not enough people yet.
It comes down to the incentive and the willingness from the American people. That's all it comes down to. You could influence them, the American people, as much as you want. What it comes down to is, have you influenced the American people enough to say, all right, I'm going to vote for it, or I'm going to support you, or whatever. Influence has its sort of cutoff line. It comes down to the individual, all in all.
Ideas have to change,
Yeah.
Before the government will change. The ideas of the people of the country have to change. And, there has to be a revolution of ideas to change. I mean, honestly, I like to see young people who are like us. You just wonder if our numbers are going to be great enough, We have to continue to spread the message.
We just gotta set the mindset. We just gotta wake people out of their graves.
We gotta get people caring about these things instead of caring about music and sports and all these entertainment, pop, entertainment movies and shows, all this mind-numbing stuff that doesn't affect you in any way, shape, or form, You gotta get people thinking about the real things that are gonna affect them and not just live in their la-la land where it doesn't affect me, I hear people say that, and I think you're fucking living in a la-la land. If you think that these things don't affect you, do you not live in the United States? Do you not live under the United States law?
Yeah, do you not, I mean, where are you living?
Right, are you living in your own country? I don't think so. This does affect you.
Yeah.
You can't just say, I don't care. That's being like a fucking traitor.
Exactly.
I mean, I'm tired of hearing I don't care.
Yeah. That's carelessness.
It's people like
right
you
there
that cause this system to be correct.
That's what fucks up the entire system.
The politicians rely on those kind of people.
Exactly. Carelessness.
As long as there's people brainwashed and just stuck in the media and caring about sports and stuff, there'll never be a revolution.
There will never, yeah. It's got to come down to the willingness of the American fucking people. You got to get them pissed off to the point where they're going to say, all right, let's fucking do it. That's all it comes down to. Exactly. It's got to come down to just willingness. It doesn't matter if no one cares. You do not have the numbers. But if you have enough people that are willing to stand up for change, real fucking change.
Not the change Obama promised us, but,
actual overriding of the government.
Putting a limited government in place.
There would be no fucking issue in doing it.
But that's what scares me the most, is I hear adults talking all the time, and I don't hear them talking about the issues. A lot of times I hear them talking about fucking sports teams,
Yeah, it's just
I hear them talking about things that doesn't affect their life in any way, shape, or form. I mean, who wins a football game is more important. You see how many fans go to football games, how many people watch, how many sports channels are on TV. Shit, there's like 100.
Yeah.
And there's not one channel based on freedom and politics and issues like that. And, people don't gather in halls and talk about it. The public doesn't just gather in hundreds of thousands and talk about what the government's been doing. They go to sports and watch games. You know? And I'm sorry, that's all well and good if you like sports, but you got to wake up. You got to start thinking about what's really going to affect you and your child's future. You should be caring, if not for your own sake, for at least your child's sake, the shit that's going to be left behind for them.
Yeah.
And if you have a kid and you honestly say you don't care about what's going on in this country, you're selling your kid out.
Bingo. That's all there is to it.
If having a kid isn't enough incentive to try and hope that they're, try and get you to want to change the system, then you have nothing.
If you have kids, if you have grandkids, if you have any children whatsoever, your mindset is to have a system set up where you want to leave your kids with something better than you originally had.
You should be wanting to set your kids up to succeed the way they can.
Yeah.
And if you don't care, and you say it's not going to affect me in my lifetime, then you're a fucking selfish bastard.
Exactly.
I'm sorry.
That's selfishness. That's cut and dried fucking selfishness. You might as well fucking commit a fucking cut and dry selfish act like suicide. Because you have obviously stated, I don't give a shit about what's happening in my life. I might as well fucking end it right here.
You brought another soul onto this planet against their will. And you're going to sit there and say you don't care about their future.
Yeah.
How selfish is that?
That's so immoral. So fucking immoral.
So,
that's against my belief. That's against your belief.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's not fucking moral, it ain't fucking right.
But Jesus
Christ. I mean, just fucking...
If you have kids, you ought to care.
You ought to fucking show some concern.
And
you ought to be a fucking grown-up about this shit.
And one of these guys that doesn't seem to care has kids. This guy that we know.
Exactly.
And he has kids, and he doesn't care. He was shunning me for saying these things. He told me I shouldn't have my First Amendment right on Facebook.
Exactly.
This fucking guy. He has kids.
Yeah.
How fucking ridiculous do you have to be?
Yeah. It's just like, I am obviously making more sense. I'm exercising my fucking right than you are showing concern for what your children might have to fucking deal with in their fucking future. You obviously do not give a shit about anything. You obviously don't fucking care about what could be in stock for their future. And the fucking mindset.
It's bad enough
that... It's unfucking-believable.
Like, Greg, it's bad enough that a person who doesn't have offspring, say they don't care, but for a person who has kids, like I say, or grandkids, that's even worse. That's
mind-boggling.
That's selling out your whole family.
That's selling out to fucking... That's selling out to levels like I could not even fucking compare to. It's just...
And some people say, if you don't like the system we have, well, you can move out of country. Well, fuck you.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm not moving from America.
We're traditionalists.
Yeah.
We're fucking sticking to the goddamn roots of the Constitution and our fucking founding fathers here.
That's what this country has to go back to. And if everyone who wants that moves away, the country will be taken over. There'll be no hope.
There will be no traditionalists. There will be no people that honestly fucking believe that the system that we had set up way back when, some 220 some odd years ago, well, fuck, 227 fucking years ago, all of a sudden no longer applies. It's just like...
Honestly, I was told, I posted this thing on Facebook. It was a great post. It was this long thing. It said, how free are you, really? And it had all these things that the government does that represses our freedoms in this country in this day and age. And someone fucking commented and literally said, you know what else you're free to do? Move out of country. And I was really pissed off because honestly, that's a defeatist attitude.
Yeah.
If you're willing to leave the country that you love just because you don't like the way things are ran, I mean, you're just being a defeated.
You're giving in.
You're giving in.
You are honestly saying, all right, I cannot possibly defeat the government. I am giving in right now. If you are going to go down with a fight.
I hate people who want to move. They aren't helping the cause at all.
If I'm going to die trying to preserve our country's heritage and its moral beliefs that it ought to have, I'm going to go down shot in flames. I'm going to get shot down in fucking flames. I'm going to go down saying, you know what? I believed in our traditional views that our founding fathers had, and you know what? They're going to be meeting me in heaven, and you know what? We're going to go have a fucking drink up there. You know?
Oh, but we're dangerous, Greg.
Yeah, we're
radicals.
We're radicalists. We're
the ideas of freedom. We're radicals. Yeah. Are you fucking kidding me? We're dangerous. Me and Greg are fucking. We don't care about.
We're mentally ill.
That's what we do. We get told that all the time, but we literally do.
Well, yeah, I mean, I consider that statement like a fucking start of a party because it's all such nonsense. You know,
it's a compliment now because honestly,
I would revel in the attacks on me because
if you're seen as a radical in a day and age like today.
That's something to be proud of.
You're probably a good guy. You probably want the right things.
That is honestly something to be proud of. Like, honestly, in no other point in American history are you considered proud to be mentally ill. Because the chances of you being mentally ill right now are not even close to being a good guy. You know? If you're mentally ill, you have all of a sudden fallen into the people that are the good guys, essentially. And the good guys that the government likes are the fucking criminals. You know? Never have you ever seen a fucking a criminal viewpoint practically flip-flopped. It has literally been flipped around like that.
I think that just speaks to how bad things are more than anything, is that
just speaks volumes right there.
People who quote the founders in the Constitution are seen as dangerous radicals. That's how you know how far this place has fallen. You know, it really is. Like, the idea of ultimate individualism is somehow seen as corrupt and radical and hurtful and spiteful, and we're bad people. We don't care about the poor. We don't care about anybody. Fuck you. Yes, we do.
Yes.
We just handle it in a way where it's not corrupt.
We handle it in a fucking responsible and non-corrupt fashion.
Yes.
You know, that's the way it fucking should be. You know, get the fucking bullshit corruption.
We don't believe in government force or coercion. Like, that's what we don't believe in. We don't like that shit.
And that's the way everyone should fucking honestly believe in.
But no.
Oh, no.
Unfortunately, people think that something done collectively has to be good, and that if a gun is what it takes, then that's fine.
That's what it fucking takes.
People think that the government should be able to take your land, you know?
Yeah.
Through eminent domain or something like that.
It's just like, are you fucking serious? You cannot be.
How is this moral in any way, shape, or form to take something that owns?
Oh, it's just it's killing too many people because it's such a sharp angle of a turn. Let's develop some responsibility here, people. If people fucking developed that road from the get-go, it was more than likely safe originally. The road hasn't changed any. So why are all of a sudden we deciding, oh, it's no longer safe? Has the road changed at all? No. People are fucking becoming stupid.
Mm-hmm.
If you can't honestly show, like, concern, like, during the winter, when conditions get bad, if you can't develop safe driving habits, then why the fuck do you have a driver's license?
Exactly.
You know?
No, we shouldn't all be punished for that.
But the landowners, they have absolutely no bias over safety as the idiots who are driving. The idiots who are driving that are making themselves look like a fucking idiot, and quite frankly are, their opinion should not even fucking matter. That court ruling should be fucking thrown out the instant it shows up.
And why should a government bureaucracy like the EPA get to decide who lives where?
Yeah.
People have been thrown off their land due to an endangered species being there, or an endangered tree or something. Some fucking EPA
bullshit.
Shit. Some fucking big bureaucracy shit. People have literally been thrown off their land, or thrown in jail, or fined up the ass for living there.
Huge.
This is ridiculous.
This is fucking stupid.
This is not what America was founded on at all. You own your property.
Yes.
You own your body. You own the extensions of your labor. You own... You have property rights.
Yes.
And how the fuck is that going to be intruded on by EPA?
You own your own fucking benefits from your economic success.
And how is EPA going to tell me that I can't live somewhere?
You know?
How is that going to be ruled where I legitimately lose my home? I feel sorry for the people that have happened to that. I can't even imagine. I'm angry enough just hearing about it. I can't imagine how they feel, or how someone who knows them personally would feel.
If that were to happen to you or I, we'd fucking file a lawsuit like that.
And that's the problem. You can't fight the EPA through lawsuit because you always never have enough money to do it, because they just are, they're swimming in money.
They're swimming in money, and they're swimming in fucking legal support.
They're swimming in power, and you don't have that as an individual. You don't have the money to fight them in court.
That's the problem.
You could win, but you wouldn't be able to afford to win.
Exactly.
That's the problem.
That's the problem, because money is more of an issue anymore, and power is no longer in the people's hands.
Yeah.
You know, whatever happened to the 10th Amendment? The powers that are not listed in the Constitution are retained by the people, not their leaders.
Mm-hmm.
The 10th Amendment is just as important as the other 9 listed in the Bill of Rights, if not more important than the first 9.
Yeah.
It's crazy to believe that people who think that you don't have a right to privacy, you don't have a right to, do whatever you want on your private property.
Yeah.
You don't have that right. It's not listed in the Constitution. It's not your fucking right.
You don't have a right to film police from your house.
It's just like, what's wrong with this issue here, people? Shall we go back to the Bill of Rights?
Mm-hmm.
Shall we go back to the Constitution? Are you literally that fucking corrupt to believe that we don't have the right to do whatever that isn't listed in the Constitution? If it is morally sound and bound, as well as ethically, why should we be penalized for it?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, there are things where, like you said, the Constitution is great, but it doesn't include everything.
Yeah.
And just because something
isn't... And it shouldn't have, because they're not fucking psychics.
Yeah. They're not going to know what society's really like 200 years from where they were. Things change, but...
Yeah.
Honestly, that's where morality comes in. I mean, we should be smart enough to know what's right and wrong. And not, if something is not listed by the Constitution, it doesn't make it fair game. I mean...
It's retained by the fucking people.
Yeah.
Period. Case closed.
Oh my God, it's just...
It's unbelievable.
That's ridiculous. Oh, God. It's bad, man.
I mean, we have literally covered so many issues.
And there's so much more.
And there are so much more. We could literally cover... We couldn't even cover everything in a fucking weekend. Straight.
Yeah.
I mean, 48 hours, we could not even cover everything. And our minds would literally be non-existent at fucking hour, 23.
My mind's already getting numbed from all this.
My brain's already starting to get somewhat fried. And trust me, we're far from done. I mean, this is just episode 1 of the Clint and Greg Show.
Yeah, we'll have more topics.
Think of what else we could fucking cover. Because, more than likely, we'll start texting each other we'll start thinking of ideas, and I'll start fucking writing down shit to fucking think of discussing for next time.
Mm-hmm. We'll definitely start having...
We're not going to run out of ideas.
Oh, no.
You corrupt bastards out there who think that, we're mentally ill, you'll come up with your own issues on your own behalf. We don't have to come up with the issues. You'll fucking show them on your own.
Oh, we might be mentally ill, but you know what? At least we're morally
and we
sound. Have principles.
And we have those principles and morals present. And... yeah.
That's all you really need.
That's all it takes.
You be yourself. You be true to who you are. And
I cannot stress that enough.
Greg and I get really hard in our pants when we talk about being ourselves, because me and him get it. We're on each other's level there.
If you want to be associated with us, that's all you literally have to do. Is just be yourself.
You can be anything.
You can be anyone. Just.
We don't see people.
Stay true.
We don't see people by skin color or anything like that. We see you by your principles.
Yeah, we do not judge a book by its cover, and nobody should. But there are too many people that do, and they fail to see what good someone might have deep inside themselves. Someone who literally has seen the shittiest of family, of life experiences, could be a really great person. If they learn from their mistakes, if they find out the world sucks, and the only chance of them influencing anybody is through morals, through sincereness, through politeness, they're going to be that way. If that's the only way that they're going to be able to get through somebody, they're going to try their hardest to become that one person. It's just all there is to it. It literally is so simple that anybody can do it.
It's simple.
It's all... what we're doing is not rocket science.
We have a common sense approach.
We
don't overcomplicate things.
It does not require any special effort whatsoever. This is effort that you could literally exhaust without even thinking about it.
Greg and I, we're not geniuses by any stretch of imagination, and that's the thing. I've had people just tell me how smart I am, and I'm just like, it shouldn't be.
Shouldn't be based on IQ.
Everybody should have these thoughts.
Yeah.
These things are just bases of moral, and it's just stuff that you should be naturally born with.
Yeah.
A good indication of what's right and wrong, and being able to critically think for yourself. Being a free thinker.
Yeah.
Not just blindly following everything you hear.
Not selling out to the public. That's...
not being two-faced.
And that's exactly.
So many people in high school and everything.
That's the one thing that I could not stress enough in high school. And the following that I did not get was unbelievable. Everybody practically was for everyone else. Everyone practically wanted to be everyone else.
Me and you, Greg, we
stuck true to roots.
Me and you were the only two hanging out with each other for a long time there in high school, at least the early days. Because everyone else was just wanting to hop on bandwagons, and me and you were just,
fuck you,
sitting there talking about Family Guy, liking hard rock, stuff that other people, didn't see as mainstream enough,
Yeah.
But we were ourselves.
We
didn't sell out to the crowds.
Yeah.
And I know we feel better about ourselves for that. Me and you, I know, deep down we know that we did the right thing. We may not have been the most popular kids, but at least we were true to ourselves.
We were true, yeah. We kept ourselves honest.
And a lot of people might have laughed at us, but you know what? That's fine.
Yeah.
Because you're going along not really being who you are, and here we are just
we're untouchable at this point in time.
Exactly.
You know?
I mean, I can't wait to run into a classmate of ours, and they're hanging on financially wise by a thread, and I just walk by him in my fucking suit and tie, and I'm laughing at him because it is so easy to become yourself. It literally it kind of reminds me of the mindset. It takes more muscles to frown than to smile. It literally takes more effort to sell out than to be yourself. Am I right?
It's exhausting. I can't even imagine how exhausting it would be.
I mean,
how people can live with themselves after that. I mean, I just do not know.
How could you stand yourself?
How can you look yourself in the mirror and see a person you're wanting to be?
Yeah.
For me, it's just never been a go.
No,
ever.
It never has.
It's never been okay for me. You know.
It's unbelievable that there are so many people that just go completely on the wayside and just say, you know what, I'm just gonna hop on every fucking sports bandwagon. You know, I'm gonna follow Kanye West. I'm gonna go for Lady Gaga. I'm gonna do all this goddamn shit just so I can fit in.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, there are more than enough people out there that are willing to just say, you know what, you're welcome if you're just yourself. I mean, I have literally picked up an insane amount of women just from being myself. I could not imagine if I tried to be someone else and try to pick up women, because that is like an instant turnoff for a lot of women.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not yourself and you're not showing confidence, and that's the thing, if you want to try and be someone else, you are literally saying, I have no confidence in myself. That's an instant fucking turnoff for women, is no confidence. Instant fucking turnoff. And if you women out there are disagreeing with me, you're fucking wrong. And I'm right.
You see that? That's confidence right
Exactly.
there. He just showed it.
You're a fucking idiot.
He's willing to tell it like it is. Honesty.
Exactly.
Brute honesty.
Stick to your fucking truthful, honest roots.
I'm always honest, painfully honest.
Yeah.
And even if somebody doesn't like it, at least I feel better knowing I was truthful to them.
And you don't have this burden on your fucking chest. You just, if you honestly speak the truth and you be fucking rough about it, then lie to yourself and fucking be soft and shit, you're just like, God damn, this is rotten at me.
Man, I'm a sellout.
This is such bullshit. You know, it literally...
Being a people pleaser. And
exactly.
Going along with everything and not having any standards. And
we literally had so many friends in middle school, like, go on the wayside.
Oh, yeah.
It was insane.
I can honestly say I only have a couple friends that I still appreciate.
Mm-hmm.
And so, it's good, though. I'd rather have a few good friends than...
It has always been, and it always will be, more about quality than quantity.
Mm-hmm.
I don't give a shit. You know, if I go to Lincoln and I hardly make any friends, you know, I'll make some. But if I'm not a fucking crowd pleaser, so that I can stick to my roots, I'll fucking do it.
Mm-hmm.
And you damn well know I'm gonna do it.
Oh yeah. And if I die with one good friend by my side, I'd be a happy man. I'd feel self-fulfilled.
Likewise, man. It's all there is to it. You have just got to stick to your roots. And the mere fact that it seems so hard by a lot of people.
Mm-hmm. It's not.
It's not hard. It's not rocket science. If we can do it, you can certainly fucking do it.
An honest world is a much better world.
Exactly.
So...
Stick to your roots.
I feel like we're just a nation of people who are just putting up fronts, you know? And unfortunately, that just creates all this problem. I mean, nobody's true.
Nobody is.
We just need more true people. I mean, I would be glad to be offended by somebody, you know, because of their views. You know, as long as they were being honest, you know, I would love it.
Yeah.
You know, it'd be great. An open, you know, more open society of people with differing views, you know, I respect that much more than a bunch of plastic people who are just going with anything.
Willing to just hand the fucking the controls over to someone else.
Their mind changes every week, it's flavor of the week, whatever.
Just hand the controls to your fucking mind to someone else and just be like, here, have a ball with my mind, just be the fucking the controls to me as a puppet. That's what's wrong.
Yeah.
It's not that, people are doing it. It's that the people are fucking letting people do it. The mere fact that it's existing, it's going to always fucking happen. But the mere fact that you are allowing someone to control your life through sellouts, that ain't right. But people are willing to fucking do it. And
oh yeah, because it gets them somewhere.
Yeah.
It gets them somewhere short term. But, long term wise, I know I feel better about myself being myself.
Always look on that fucking surface. Always look at the short term bullshit. It's such insane bullshit. Like, it's not just, a little bit of bullshit. No, it's fucking full-blown bullshit.
What I don't understand is how do people not have a conscience? I mean,
exactly. Like,
for me, I feel bad even telling a little lie. I can't live with myself.
Exactly. Like, if I make a fuck-up at my job, like,
it just gets to a person.
I can't keep it to myself. I have to voice it. Because it will rot away at my conscience forever until the mere point that I don't have one anymore.
And that certainly should make people a better person. And I don't know if some people are just lacking that or just, I don't know. But for me, the thing that keeps me doing good is just knowing that if I don't, I'm going to feel like shit. I'm not going to be a happy person.
And it feels like it just rots you.
Yeah, it does.
It slowly corrodes inside of you. And that seems like all that it would take for someone, but it just doesn't.
Some people, I guess, just aren't. Maybe they just don't.
Just don't care.
Maybe they don't.
And that's crazy. It's just unbelievable.
I'm happy that I have an active conscience, though. I'm happy that I have a conscience that holds myself to high
standards. I'm happy to speak to someone that has such an open conscience and such an existent conscience, and is not afraid to speak the fucking the cut and dry truth.
Because I can't live with myself if I don't. I can't be a happy person if I'm not truthful.
Yeah. And that's the social mindset that everyone needs to have.
Going through high school, you hardly saw anybody who was like that. You just saw everybody just going along with the crowds.
Yep, just going for the crowd pleasers. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Just as long as you're on good terms with everyone. Everyone should be fine. What could possibly go wrong?
As long as everybody likes me, in my opinion, that's what matters.
That's all that really should matter, right?
I mean, it's just ridiculous.
I've never seen so much shit out of someone's mouth. Ever. Even with the president.
Sure.
And that's saying a lot. Like, if you honestly say that I'm full of shit, no, you're fucking full of shit. How much you want to bet that you're a fucking crowd pleaser?
Guarantee you.
Prove me wrong! I dare you. Because that's what's so wrong. It's all about getting the job done. It's all about, getting people set on the right track. Oh, but wait. I can't do that. I shouldn't be able to do that. It's got to come down on the individual.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I cannot stress enough of. It comes down to the individual and their willingness.
And if you're butthurt by the things we've been saying today,
fuck you.
You most
likely haven't gotten to this fucking point in the video yet.
You're most likely, if we butthurt you throughout this video by the things we've said, you're most likely part of the problem we're talking about.
Exactly. You're just one of the many fucking problems.
If you honestly just can't understand what it means to be true, then
I can't do anything for you.
Yeah.
We can't really. We can't force people.
You have more problems than we can try and potentially solve.
And I hope you end up being very unsatisfied with yourself. I hope it rots you.
And I hope it rots you to the point that you commit suicide. And you know what? I might sound like an asshole, but you know what? I ain't gonna fucking hold back.
I sound like an asshole on a daily basis.
Exactly.
And everyone gets butthurt about it.
Everyone will call me an asshole.
Everyone gets butthurt.
I literally run into someone on an everyday basis. It's not a nearly every day. It's an everyday fucking basis. I will have a person once every fucking day call me an asshole. And you know what? I'm just like, thank you for stating the fucking obvious. Because I would literally have someone call me an asshole than a crowd-pleasing friend.
I think being a realist and being an asshole goes hand in hand.
Hand in hand.
Because in this day and age, you kind of have to be an asshole.
Exactly. To get your point across.
Just the way things are.
You have to be an asshole.
It's a bitter-ass world today.
Exactly.
And the truth hurts.
Exactly. It's.
But being a realist is really what makes you feel the best about yourself. You know that you're true.
Uh-huh.
You look at facts, and you take the facts and you apply it to situations instead of just living in la la land.
Yeah.
And if people don't like it and they want to hide from the facts, you know what?
Fuck them.
That's their problem.
That's their problem.
They want to call you a bad person for saying that.
And you know what? It should be their problem and not mine. It needs to be a burden of their own and not the public. It's just all there is to it. If you disagree with something, that's your own fucking problem. It's not the public's problem. It's your fucking problem.
And you're welcome to disagree.
Yeah.
Just
I'm
be honest.
I'm not gonna fucking turn you down for disagreeing.
Just be honest.
You can disagree with me as much as you want.
Be yourself. Be true.
It's got to come down on the individual. That's all there is to it.
That's what we're saying.
That's all that we're trying to say.
That's all we're trying to get through.
Yeah. That's all we're going to try and get through.
It's been a hell of an episode, hasn't it?
Fucking ass, man. Can't wait to get that shit put up.
Yeah, man.
Thanks for being a part
Oh yeah,
of my life.
You know me, man. I'm like your best friend.
Oh man,
me and this guy are like compatible. Like we've been brothers.
We've been brothers ever since the mere fact that we've tried to develop into what we are today.
I mean, we've been friends since we were like fucking
kindergartners.
You all have pictures of us when we were like 5 hanging out.
Exactly. It's just unbelievable. Like,
and the fact that we've been able to be true to each other and not
for
sell out.
so long.
You know?
None of us have gone by the wayside. It's just like, that's great.
It's awesome when you've seen so many friends just go out the window and you can tell that they don't care. And to have friends that do is just great. And I have that in Greg.
Yeah.
That's why we create the Clint and Greg Show.
Yeah.
To show our bond.
And our communication and our compatibility with each other.
And our opinions, that do, in fact, make sense. Because it's common sense. And
that's all it takes. If you had common sense, you could literally get on this show, no question about it. I mean, it literally requires that little of effort to become a part of the Clint and Greg Show. And it's insane that there are literally no people out there that want to become a part of our show. Because it's just too much effort, or we don't like you because you're too much of an asshole. It's that we're too much of a realist.
Yeah.
We may be too much of an asshole, but we're just stone cold fucking realists.
We're probably the 2 biggest realists you'll ever meet.
In your life.
We really are.
I mean, I'd be hard pressed to find someone as hardcore of a realist as we are.
I don't think you can.
I just,
because people are too worried about their own fucking image,
Yeah.
And we don't care about that.
Yeah, fuck.
I'm glad that I have an image of being honest,
Yeah, I just, if I set that image of being an asshole, I've got integrity. I'm cool-headed. I don't give a shit what you say about me. Say what you want.
You're strong-minded.
I'm confident.
That's all it comes down to.
You have a strong mind, and that's...
If you've got confidence, God bless you, man. Woman, child, whatever. God bless you.
It's part of that. It's part of that saying, you know. If you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything.
That's true to the core.
And obviously, I've heard plenty of times that if somebody goes through their life and doesn't have any enemies or any people who disagree with them, they probably didn't ever stand up for anything they believe in. But a person who has created enemies throughout their life, you know, hats off to them. Mm-hmm. You have been yourself.
You've been yourself, and the people that have made an enemy out of you, that's their own fucking problem. You did nothing intentional. You might have done something intentional, but for the most part, if you stay honest and true to yourself, you've done nothing.
If people hate you just for you, that's their problem.
Hats off to you,
man.
They
can be bitter. They can have that hate in their heart.
They can rot.
Me, I don't have hate in my heart.
No, I don't either.
And it makes you feel so much better.
I don't think I ever will. I will have such a pure soul when I die. It'll be beautiful. It will be so fucking beautiful.
You'll die with principle.
I will die knowing that I stuck true to my roots. And that I had a brother that wasn't even my brother. Stick true till the bitter end.
Me and Greg will be fighting this war for a long time.
We will.
You might see us in 20 years talking on this podcast still.
Yeah.
You know?
Talking about this podcast. Yeah. Talking about all the episodes to come. It's just like... It's insane that a friendship like that could last that long. But if you stay true, it will last forever.
It's built on the right things, you know, that foundation, you know.
It's all about setting that foundation. And literally, the foundation is so simple. You know?
Honesty, just be yourself. Be honest with each other.
Don't
bullshit each other.
That's all it takes. That's all it fucking takes.
I have other friends that bullshit me, and I can't honestly take them seriously. I can't honestly trust them. Oh. And if you can't trust your friend, your friendship's not going to be as rich as it is.
Well, the friendship isn't in existence, right, really. Yeah. I mean, when you sit down and you look at it, the friendship is not in existence if someone is BSing you. It's just all there is to it.
I honestly feel like I get BS constantly, and it's refreshing to have a friend who doesn't BS me. You know?
Yeah, it's just if you have a friend that's true, tried and true, you know, find fault with that. You know, I just try and find fault with a friend that is going to be true to you and to their self till the bitter end. Find fault with that. Oh, they're not going to be changing like a two-faced person. Well, you clearly don't have the right fucking viewpoint on a friend. Problem number one. And that's the only problem there is. That's how majorly of a problem you have. You literally have more of a problem than a fucking crackhead does with crack.
I used to be bitter and mad about friends that have screwed me over, but I don't care anymore. You know? I stopped caring, and I'm a happier person for it.
Yeah.
I've just realized that it's their shit, not mine, and
yep.
They turn their back on me, so they have to live with that, you know?
Yeah.
And I don't have to worry about it.
No.
You know, I never did them wrong in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah. It just...
That makes me a happier person.
Toss the wannabes out the fucking door. They don't care about you, and you shouldn't care about them, and you shouldn't fucking show concern for them because they don't care. They don't care if you care or if you don't care. They don't fucking care.
It goes on with what he just said. I'm tired of seeing people suck up to their enemies.
Yeah.
I'm tired of seeing people fucking
give in to their enemies.
Be all happy around their, try and be two-faced and just
try and get along and just, no, fuck that. If somebody screws you over and if somebody's a dick to you, you know what? You don't have to deal with that shit.
Yeah.
You should just be willing to cut off all connection to them.
Mm-hmm.
Greg has always been a guy who cuts connection.
That's my fucking specialty.
Yeah.
Fucking cutting off communication.
Nothing pains me more deeply to see somebody who I know has a problem with somebody else, but I see them just laughing with each other, just basically just shooting shit like nothing's wrong.
Yeah.
Just being completely fake. Both of them. Just drowning in each other's bullshit.
Yeah.
Nothing eats me away more than that, and I'm just like, oh my god, I don't want to be around.
I can't even fucking watch that shit.
I can't stomach this.
Yeah.
Because then, when the one person leaves, the other person will start talking shit again.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, are you fucking kidding me? Why can't you just give that out to them? Why can't you just
get to the fucking point?
Be true. If you have a problem with the person, show it in front of them, you know? Tell them.
Don't beat around the fucking bush.
Don't act all like everything's all great when it's not.
When it's not even close to that.
Because nothing will ever get solved if you're like that. You won't get the problems out there and get them fixed. You won't get past any problems you have with somebody if you don't tell them and just lay it out. I mean, if you're just two-faced all the time and you just want to get along, that never solves any problems.
No.
It might be easier, but don't always take the easy way out. I mean, no, fuck that. It might be awkward at first to get something off your chest that's bothering you, but I guarantee you it'll be more rewarding for you because you will know, and they will know, and it'll all be out there, and there'll be no more lies, and everything will be fine. And if you still don't want to be friends after you get everything off each other's chest, then you don't have to be around each other. You don't have to speak to each other, but at least you were honest with each other. But so many people are just like, I'm just gonna keep the peace. I'm just gonna be around this person and just not say anything. I'm just gonna talk shit behind their back and just act all nice to their face. And that just kills me. I just hate seeing that. It's just like, how much fucking faker can you be?
Yeah, it's just like,
be real, man.
Get to the fucking point.
Be a realist, for fuck's sake. I mean, that's all we're saying.
Realism is like, that's the point that I try and bring home more than any other point. And that's sad. That I need to stress that more than anything else that I could potentially stress.
It should be a given.
It just needs to be one of those things that you're just natural at. That you're just good at. That you're just to the point forward. And it's crazy that
people can't even develop that mindset. It's crazy. It's unbelievable.
If you like what we've heard, you like what we've said, right?
Yep.
If you're liking it,
if you're finally waking up, our job is working.
Yeah, and if you've watched this and think, these guys have a point.
Thank Christ you've waken up.
If you think these guys maybe have a point, go ahead and tune in the next show,
Yeah, I mean,
and if you don't,
we're not going to stop here. We're far from stopping. We're not going to stop. We're not going to stop.
And if you think that we're assholes, and if you think that's going to cause us to stop speaking our opinion and stop exercising our First Amendment rights, then you have another thing fucking coming.
Yeah.
It's something called the freedom of being able to watch something or not. You don't have to watch us.
You're not forced to. We're not going to force you to watch this. We're encouraging you. We're not forcing. There's a difference between forcing and encouraging. Mm-hmm. But just, exactly like what Clint said, just like Judas Priest says, you got another thing coming, I mean, those guys worded it perfectly.
Fucking God bless them.
God bless those guys.
Fucking hell.
I mean...
So before we finish this first show, Greg, why don't you tell us a little bit about your project that you want to start?
Yeah, like Clint mentioned, I got another sort of. I'm kind of debating on whether or not I want to go full audio and no video, or a little bit of video and audio. But what I'm planning on doing, and I kind of got encouraged through Clint here being a broadcasting major and wanting to do a lot of radio, kind of got me influenced into starting a sort of a podcast for the general masses out there to just try and awaken the American people that are just still sleeping and brainwashed, and just trying to awaken the people out there, and just seeing what damage I can really do in terms of trying to help all of you guys out there.
So yeah, basically you're wanting to start kind of what we're doing here.
Yeah.
You're kind of wanting to do maybe a weekly thing or something like that.
Do something along those lines, but yeah, just get the communication going. I think that's the most important part.
You could maybe stick to an issue, just one issue every episode. Just focus on one thing, so it's not overwhelming.
Yeah, just keep pounding away at the issues, but keep it one issue, like Clint mentioned,
for each thing. Yeah.
Per podcast.
Right. And I think that would make it easier for people to find issues.
Yeah.
Or
and get the masses sort of involved. I mean, I'm not saying I'm gonna not allow for any potential communication to develop. I'm encouraging you to develop that communication aspect with us. I encourage questions. I encourage involvement. I encourage.
We want
your voice to be heard, because if it's just us that are speaking, why are we even doing this?
Mm-hmm.
It's pointless for us to do something that involves no one. We want you to be involved. We don't want you to just sit by idle.
Right. Agree or disagree. We want to hear your opinion.
We want to hear a voice, even if you do disagree. I'm not turning you down.
In fact, it'd give us some good points to dissect.
Exactly. I mean, it in case some of you may have misunderstood where we're looking at here, that just tells us, what to go further in detail of. That's just all it is to it.
We would love something like video responses. I mean,
yeah.
I think you can do that, can't you? You could make a video and tag it and put it on there, and we could literally watch it and respond to that in a different video.
No question about it. It's
we want it to be as interactive as possible.
Exactly. We want this to be a very interactive series of communication. I mean, if no one responds to any of this shit, there's no point in trying to go on from here. We want to hear your voice. If you're a full blown liberal, if you're a full blown right wing Republican, agree or disagree, just let us know what your comments, what your concerns are, what you might have not quite understood what we went into. Be my guest. Be our guest. Put a video response in. We'll definitely approve it for you to get posted on there.
Oh yeah, we'll approve anything.
We'll approve anything.
It's the First Amendment.
It's your First Amendment.
We're not gonna
be hypocritical about it.
We're certainly, the First Amendment isn't to protect
just us.
It's to protect unpopular speech. So
exactly.
If you have some vulgar opinions that you want us to hear, go ahead.
Go ahead. I mean, we're not going to turn you down. That's the last thing we're going to fucking do.
I don't care.
Because we're going to be a fucking hypocrite.
Right. And that's the one thing we don't want to do. And
that's the last thing we want to fucking
That'll definitely make it'll make everything we've said just completely illegitimate.
Yeah.
So.
Be a fucking waste.
Even if we have all the videos that are against us and nothing that's for us, we take that much more positively than having no response at all.
Back to the whole asshole, viewpoint. I would rather someone call me an asshole than a crowd pleaser. Yeah. If you literally say, you know what, I disagree with everything that you say, be my guest.
I think you're fucking crazy and
I think you're crazy, yes, but I value your opinion. And you should probably value ours. But have some factual statistics to fucking back it up. You know, we're realists. We've seen what's happened in the past.
Don't let your emotions control your judgment.
Exactly.
If everything you disagree with is because it doesn't sound nice.
It doesn't sound emotionally
That's
sound.
not going to do it for us, okay? You're not going to win many arguments that way, okay?
You're going to get shot down worse than we are. And that's pretty sad.
But like we said, you know, we want to see some feedback on this video, you know, and
all the videos to come.
Greg will want to see feedback on his show.
Yeah.
And I might guest star on his show sometime.
Oh yeah, I definitely encourage Skype people. I encourage, you know, and you know, that'll be in the future podcast to come. I will definitely set up a Skype account that I can set up to show some or have some people in studio, and or actually physically in the studio.
Yeah, I know.
I encourage involvement.
I know I'll want to guest star, and
yeah, and I'll want to guest star on his radio show that he's a part of. That's
kind of our plan for the future.
That's our plan for the future.
We're going to continue to do kind of shows like this, where it's just me and you, and we're doing a variety of different things. And we'll also do some where Greg is, you know, having his own show, and he kind of tries to keep it one topic for that video, you know, so it's a little easier to digest that, you know. And we'll continue to do both, and you know, it'll be great.
Yeah. And that's
and Greg will have some good software. Hopefully, he'll have some really good audio equipment, some nice video equipment possibly, and it'll make it very professional.
Yep. That's the ultimate goal, is to make it functional, to make it professional.
And whether we reach 1,000 people or 10,000 people, you know,
or 10 people,
as long as we reach somebody,
That's all that matters. You know, and that's the last thing I want is more people to follow me for the wrong beliefs than to have practically no people whatsoever follow me for everything, for the right thing. So, that's sort of what to look forward to in the future.
Yeah, this was the first episode. I think this
was the very first episode of the Clint and Greg Show.
Obviously, this one, we didn't have scripts going off. We didn't have anything planned to talk about.
This was basically of a preview.
Right, we just came up with things to say off the top of our head, really. The next ones will probably be a little more organized.
Episode 2,
we'll have some specific things we want to talk about ahead of time.
Definitely focus on just one or two issues,
so tops, we know what to talk about.
So we know what to really dial in on and really focus.
This was just kind of
this was just sort of a preview,
a rough draft,
sort of a beginning trailer, which it really wasn't a trailer. It was a pretty extensive video. But
it didn't have much direction to it.
But something to look forward to.
I think our next ones will be much easier to follow, you know, more direction, and more cohesive, and just, I think you'll like them.
I really do, and even if you don't, I encourage you just to watch them, see what we have to say, and definitely to create sort of a live stream. Definitely feel free to contact us. Invite us to be on your live stream, or just absolutely perform a video recording. Voice your opinions. Be great if you had some facts to definitely back you up. But factual information or not, voice your opinion.
You can voice your opinion no matter what.
And we're not going to turn it down. We're definitely gonna promote it on our videos, responses wise. And we'll definitely potentially address it briefly in the following episode that you posted on. But yeah, we're definitely not going to turn down feedback. That's the last thing we're going to turn down.
So Greg, you're going to post this on your YouTube?
Yep.
Is it going to be is it going to be on your YouTube or just Google Plus? Or
it'll probably be on my Google Plus and or my YouTube. If not, I definitely got a second video source, so we can definitely put it on any any channel if we want to.
See, I would like to put it on maybe one of my channels.
Absolutely. Yeah, I can definitely give you that.
I have about 2,200 subs on one and 6,000 subs on the other.
We can definitely put it.
So that'll definitely get our audience up a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Something to look forward to. I'm definitely looking forward to it, as I expect you probably are.
It's a lot of fun for us, and
it's you
know, it keeps our mind exercised. You know,
it does. And
talking about it,
and I'm glad that we're keeping our brain functional. We're keeping it active.
We're debating.
And that's
great.
That's a great exerciser of the human brain is debate.
Get your opinions out there.
Get your opinions. Get your facts set straight. Voice them. Voice your opinion based on those facts.
And then
hear someone else's feedback.
Which is why feedback is so crucial.
Because
we need feedback for this show to work.
If it's just our two voices, we have nothing else to base it on.
We're just going to feel like we're rambling every week.
Exactly. We want someone from another
part of the world, even.
Part of the world, yeah, absolutely.
That's the beauty of the internet. It's a platform where it's public for everyone to see.
And that's the way it should be. If we do that, and we spread our word, and we get the feedback that we need, mission accomplished. I mean, that's really what the whole point of this is.
We're just trying to reach people.
We're definitely trying to reach people and try and spread the word. And if we can do that, if we can create a great audience, perfect. If we create a bunch of crowd pleasers, I'm sorry. I don't care if I get 500,000 subscribers out of the deal just from crowd pleasers. I want your feedback, and if it's good feedback, great. If it's bad feedback, okay. Let's listen to it. Let's hear what you have to say.
We want people who disagree to watch.
Exactly. I would rather have those people.
Those are the people we're trying to convince.
I mean, that's what we're trying to address.
We're trying to change ideas.
We're trying to, yes.
And help people wake up.
In all, it's just going to come down to the individual. We're just
we're not going to force
we're influencing. We're not forcing.
We're not going to force your opinions, But if you hear the common sense opinions that we have, you might start to come around.
Yeah. I totally agree with you. I mean, it's all about
just getting people talking about it. It's the most important thing.
Getting people to get involved. That's all it comes down to.
You have internet. You have YouTube.
You have all these tools.
You have something that generations never had before us. Use it.
Exactly.
This is where the revolution of ideas will come from.
Exactly. This is where we want to start from. And that's, if we can do that, mission accomplished.
It's amazing that we have a platform where we can bring somebody from across the world into our living room.
Yeah. That's great.
And just have a civilized debate
just
with
them. Just have a conversation.
Something you never would have been able to do before the internet. You wouldn't have been able to meet any of these people.
No.
So it's great.
It's awesome.
And I think we should all use it to our benefit.
Absolutely. So
that's
something to look forward to in the near distant future. Like I said, my name's Greg, and alongside with me is Clint, and you've been watching the Clint and Greg Show. This is our very first episode. Very, very excited to see what these videos, what these podcasts have to offer for you guys, and hope we're sort of awakening you guys up, and definitely look forward to the next episode, and I guess we'll be signing off now. And we will catch you guys later.
We'll have plenty to talk about. So.
All right.
Peace out, guys.
See you guys later.